that if you were not a Jew, and you thought that drugstore is a kind of good business, but it's owned by a Jew, you can then simply go in there and tell him it's no longer his, it's yours. My father had a business. He produced railroad ties, those big chunks of wood that sits under the track. He produced 40, 50,000 each year, shipped them all over Europe. That's a major problem. So my father decided that maybe there is a way around it. What he did is, wait a minute, I'll make this business a non-Jewish business. How do you do that? You get a friend who is not Jewish and let him take it over. And so my father contacts one of his very dear friends, who was like best man at his wedding in 1924, Albert. So Albert and my father are having this wonderful conversation and discuss the issue of what can we do? And they come up with a beautiful plan. They re-registered the business, not as my father's business, but his business. So now it's wonderful. Albert is a friend. He doesn't mind lending his name, so to speak, sign a few pieces of paper, and P.S. Now it's now Gentile business, a Christian business. No one can touch it. 3 months after this arrangement, Albert comes to speak to my father and tells him that, you know, you and I are partners. So from now on, I want half the profits. 3 more months go by, comes back and announces that he likes the way my father is running his business. And as a result of it, because my father is such a good manager, he can stay a manager, but the profits go totally to him. A friend of 3 decades. They worked together at one time as young men. They went out together. My father went to his house, he came to our house. This friend of all those decades betrayed my father. One of the aspects of the Holocaust is betrayal. Different levels. Now this is at a personal level. This probably is the most painful in a way. And so it's 1941, going on 1942, and the Jews of Slovakia have no businesses, have no jobs. In fact, the government of Slovakia decides there is no need for them to be there. It's time to dispose of the Jews. Now we need to talk a little bit about what's going on in the rest of Europe. By 1949, Germany occupied most of Europe. By 1941, they decided to begin the liquidation, getting rid of the Jews of Europe. And to that extent, what they did is organize a special group of soldiers, mostly volunteers, into a new form of units called the Einsatz group, which is special units. Their job was to simply be trained how to fire machine guns. Once having learned how to fire the machine gun, they were dispatched to the eastern part of Poland and western part of Russia, and their job was to go to towns, villages, and cities, gather the Jews together, march them out into the forest, or to a field which had a ditch in it. Sometimes the Jews had to dig the ditch, and sometimes other people dug the ditch. They forced them to get there under guard, told them to get undressed, and they machine gunned them. They began this process of murder in the summer of 1941. And thousands of thousands, tens of hundreds of thousands of Jews were being murdered. Because the decision was made to get rid of every single Jew in Europe. All 11 million of them. And so the process began. Relatively crudely, by machine gun people. But after a year they decided, you know what? This is a very expensive proposition. Labor intensive. For every Jew we need to fire bullets. We therefore have to pay for the bullets. We have to get machine guns. People get tired of firing bullets all day long, so you need additional people. So you hire local people to do that. And some people didn't even want to do it. And so they decided that this is a very costly operation, and it's very slow. In 1 year, they haven't quite achieved the full million Jews murdered. So they decided to say, we need to do something. And what you do is when you have a problem, you form a committee and you have a conference. And so there's a conference in a place called Wannsee, which is right outside of Berlin, which was the capital then, it still is. And they convene the people who are involved in government, people who are chemists and engineers, people who run the transportation system of Europe, and say, this is unacceptable. The rate of murder is slow, it's sloppy, it's costly. It's up to you guys, you're sitting in this conference, to determine the methodology by which we're going to get rid of the Jews. And so, in their wisdom and brilliance, within 90 minutes, they had a plan. What they will do is build gas chambers where they're going to murder the Jews en masse. Cheap, fast, doesn't take much labor. And then of course you have corpses, so you need to get rid of them. So what do? You build a crematorium. You build ovens right next door to it or above it. And all you have to do is murder the people, put them on an elevator, take one flight up, into the ovens, gone. The meeting lasted 90 minutes, at which time they had lunch. This began what is sometimes referred to as the final solution to the Jewish question. Freely translated, this will quickly, efficiently get rid of every single Jew in Europe. By their calculation, 11 million Jews will be gone. And they proceeded to implement this. They immediately began building gas chambers. And by the summer of 1942, 6 major installations were created in Poland, where the majority of the Jews lived, and began the process. Bringing Jews to these camps, to these death camps, selecting some to live sometimes and sometimes none, shoving them into the gas chamber, poisoning them, and burning them. By the summer of 1942, this was in operation. And so Slovakia, being part and parcel of the same philosophy, the same ideology, the same objectives, went to the German folks and told them, hey guys, we got 70,000 Jews. We need to get rid of them. You have these wonderful mechanisms to do it. Let's make a deal. And so they do. Slovakia is to pay $125 per Jew that Germany gets rid of. But Slovakia is to deliver. And so, my friends, in the middle of the night, in the summer of 1942, there's a knock on every single Jewish home in my city. Of the 2,000 Jews living there, 1,800 are picked up, marched into the synagogue, and locked in there.